Something metallic is bleeding through space, and it's not from Earth. The object known as 3I, Atlas, is slicing across our solar system at over 130,000 miles per hour, leaving behind a trail that defies every natural law we know. It's leaking nearly 10 pounds of pure nickel every second, refined, metallic, and almost entirely free of iron. In the universe, nickel and iron are born together inside dying stars, yet here, iron is missing. This isn't cosmic coincidence. It's precision, industrial precision. And that's what terrifies scientists the most. At first, astronomers thought 3I, ATLAS was just another interstellar comet. But when spectral data came in from the Very Large Telescope in Chile, the truth started to unfold. The glow surrounding the object wasn't vaporized ice or dust. It was metallic vapor, like the exhaust of a machine. The ratio of carbon dioxide to water was beyond any natural value, 8 parts carbon dioxide for every 1 part water. No comet, asteroid, or planetary fragment has ever shown such composition. It was as if this thing wasn't built by cosmic chance, but by design. Then came the signals. Across observatories, faint pulses began to appear, patterns repeating every few minutes, too structured to be random. When analyzed, they displayed modulation identical to engineered transmissions, not background radiation. NASA called it interference, but independent scientists disagreed. The pulses were precise, like a clock ticking in the dark. Even more disturbing were the gravitational effects. Nearby asteroids began to shift slightly, their orbits bending as if something invisible were tugging at them. These movements were so delicate they were almost undetectable, gravitational whispers, as the European Space Agency called them. But they all traced back to one source, 3I, Atlas. It wasn't just passing through the solar system, it was interacting with it. And it was heating up. The James Webb Space Telescope recorded an internal thermal signature, steady, rhythmic, and rising even as it moved away from the Sun. Natural objects don't do that. It wasn't radioactive decay. It wasn't solar warming. It was energy generation. It pulsed like a heartbeat every 51 minutes, then shifted to 17. Those pulses matched the gravitational distortions detected earlier. A pattern, coordinated, deliberate, intelligent. Then came the Moon. NASA's Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter picked up an electromagnetic echo on the far side of the Moon, one that matched the exact frequency of 3I, Atlas's emissions. It wasn't just a reflection, it was resonance. Something on or beneath the lunar surface was responding. Either the signal from Atlas triggered it, or it had been waiting for it all along. Hours later, the signal stopped. The nickel emissions vanished. The heat faded. 3I, ATLAS went silent, completely. Every sensor showed nothing. Scientists first assumed equipment failure, but when every observatory reported the same result, one terrifying possibility remained. The object had gone dark on purpose. When AI-assisted analysis was run on the old data, researchers found a hidden binary pattern buried in the metallic signal. It was information, not random, not natural. The same pattern had been recorded once before, from a fast radio burst 400 million light-years away. The implication was staggering. Either 3I, ATLAS was part of a galactic network, or it was a node within it. Then, during a recalibration test, James Webb detected a distortion around the object, an interference field-bending starlight. It wasn't caused by mass, but by energy manipulation, something resembling cloaking. The field pulsed in sync with the earlier signal patterns, almost as if the object was aware it was being watched. And when the telescope stared longer, the distortion intensified. As one scientist described it, when we looked at it, it looked back, moments later, a synchronized blackout swept through observatories around the world. For 37 seconds, every telescope tracking 3I ATLAS went offline. When systems returned, the object had shifted trajectory, just slightly but intentionally. It was as if it had moved after realizing it was being observed. That same day, a leaked report from the European Space Agency described a brief, thermal bloom, captured by military satellites, a geometric burst of heat forming a perfect hexagon before vanishing. Nature doesn't make hexagons in space. Technology does. Even Earth itself began to respond. The planet's magnetic field trembled as 3I ATLAS crossed the solar plane, tiny fluctuations rippling through the Van Allen belts with no solar storms to explain them. And then came something stranger. Deep under the Indian Ocean, seismic monitors picked up an ultra-low frequency vibration, pulsing every 12 minutes, directed upward. Not an earthquake, not machinery. A signal. Days later, a private satellite malfunctioned. Its systems froze, temperature plummeted, and it began transmitting a signal it was never designed to send. That signal matched the pulses of 3I Atlas. Somehow, the object had seeded Earth's orbit, turning a human-made satellite into a relay. Now, every sign points to one conclusion. 3I Atlas isn't just a rock.